What I wanted to do this video is not necessarily like a technical in-depth view. It's more of my personal opinions and kind of an analysis of what they show. And in this video, you're gonna see a lot of modern Russian gear, which I think has a lot of potential, and it's really cool looking. So hopefully we can take a look and see what's going on here. Right off the bat, we're seeing some armor pieces, what seems to be kind of like a little modular system. Of course, we do see the soft armor additions on the groin and shoulder area and the neck area. The way Russians have seen warfare in the last couple years has really changed perspective on, for a lot of people, on fragmentation and protection from such threats. Therefore, you see a lot of those dick flaps and neck groin protector, all of that, and they definitely use a lot of it. So we see some systems there, the one on the right being more of a big old diaper with what seems to be upper thigh protection as well. One being kitted out and then the other one being slicked out, and one has molly, one doesn't, not too much more. But then as the video goes closer, we see some bells. Nothing new here, but they did kind of remodel magazine pouches, and it seems like they have some bungee cord adjustment and this odd flap on top of it that acts as a retention and probably compression as well. So he goes into a bit more details on this plate carrier, and we can see he has full front molly coverage, what looks like to be a placard system. There is no tubes disconnect on this one particularly, and outside of that there is no quite specification. I would say it does look nice. I mean, this looks heaps ahead of what the current 6B45 system looks like, which is quite outdated. It's uncomfortable, it's bulky, it's heavy. So this seems like a step in the right direction. So these bell pouches, kind of similar to, I think the Germans and the British use this clip system on the pouch itself. I haven't tried it specifically, but then it also has bungee for compression, which I'm a huge fan of. If you have pouches, especially that hold 2 or more magazines, having the bungee that you can set for compression is very, very useful, and it kind of helps get rid of all the flopping when you run around and whatnot. So when it comes to uniform, it seems like Russia closely follows, and they still do, like right now as we speak, the US method for layering. So in the United States, we have level 1 through 8 or whatever, and Russia closely follows that. With now in frame, I got the what seems to be level 6, so fully waterproof, Gore-Tex protection. And right now we see the EMR pattern. There is updates to the combat uniform themselves, the summer layers. I know Ivan talks about it more in this video. He's more expert when it comes to that. So I'll come back to that. But as of right now, I'm just checking out the different kinds of uniform. Okay, here we're seeing a display which has the winter EMR. Cool pattern, kind of rare. You don't really see it too much. But it's just the EMR in white and grays. Seems to be kind of pretty effective, I would say. It is cool, and what this guy is wearing is some sort of, I would imagine, level 7 parka of some kind with white balaclava and the helmet, which we'll see in a second, which has the cover to match. Here are some cool new patterns that we're seeing. Russia kind of spread out a little bit from the standard EMR. They had obviously different patterns based on the EMR style before, especially if you look at the 6 SH122, which is a camouflage oversuits that Russia had for a while now. It comes in a few different patterns. They have a summer variants, which is kind of bright green, and then they have an autumn, which is more muted greens and tan colorish, which I actually like. It's a nice pattern. Here we see something that seems to be quite new, and what to me seems kind of like it's inspired by some of the Pencott color palettes, which the guy is explaining is for a more temperate climate. Then he moves on and shows the EMPR, which is an arid variant, and then after that the EMRA, which is in the Arctic variant. So right here we're going to start seeing the showcase of the helmet. helmet, the 6B47, 45, 47, I forgot, but they have a very kind of outdated helmet design. A lot of high cuts seen in Ukraine right now, and a lot of Russian made low cuts and high cuts that have real version. If you look at Oxide on YouTube, he pretty much actually shot most of those helmets, and you can see how they perform. Of course, all of this we're talking is going to be kind of opinion based, and without seeing actual performance, it's kind of impossible to say whether a product is good or not. And this kind of applies for the whole video, but of course there's only so much we can do. We're just kind of seeing it and saying, I think this is cool, I think this is not, whatever. One thing that I'm going to note here is that from a first glance you see the arc rail, and then the NVG shroud is connected to the arc rail by this Tegris, what do you call it, like a, I don't know, like a bracket. I don't know, I haven't seen exactly quite close. I don't know if the shroud itself is bolted to the helmet or is just suspended with that. I think there is one singular bolt that goes in the middle of the night vision shroud. The guy is saying is about a 1300 grams helmet made out of UHM WP, so ultra high molecular weight polyurethane. They have specific characteristics, and I am sure they could probably be on par with some of the other helmets that are tested in this manufacturing method. And again, reference Oxide's videos for this if you want to see how they perform to different threats. The guy actually does mention about the attachment method of the NVG shroud to the helmet. He talks about reducing weight from the standard 3-point mount to the 1-point mount with the Tegris solution. This, I don't know, it's kind of BS. Like, I don't think the weight difference is slightly, I don't think it's noticeable. As an engineer, there is ways to mitigate that, mostly in how you design the shroud itself. The 3 screws are not gonna really give you any weight differential. What he does talk about is structural integrity of the helmet itself. I mean, you could argue that he's probably right. Like, you're not drilling 3 holes, therefore 3 stress concentration points, but you're only drilling 1. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it could work. Again, I don't know if there is actual world data that would back up the fact that the NVG mount are a failure point in different situations. So looking at the inside of the helmet, we see a suspension system very, very similar to the hop score with the ratcheting thing in the back. It works as good. And then instead of direct padding to the helmet shell, they opted to go for a suspended mesh liner, I would call it. I don't know, it seems comfortable just looking at it. It probably has good breathability. I would say that I don't know if I like a full mesh like weighing down on my hair as much as I do pads. It must be I guess convenient when it comes to airflow. It might be really good at helping that moisture kind of get out of your head and circulate out. Also, I don't know how this impacts the ballistics of the helmet, right? When pads do play a role into mitigating deformation, and I don't know if this would be something that has related properties. We're looking at an interesting modular chest rig plate carrier setup, into which you can disassemble the plate carrier to become more of a chest rig configuration. We see Tegris cummerbund and Tegris chest mounting option for example, ATAC solution. It seems like this company saw how cool. I was like, man, Tegris is so cool. We need to put it everywhere. Tegris is fine. It works. It's nothing fancy, guys. It's just thermoplastic. Chinese manufacturer make the stuff in dirt cheap. It's just it does work into adding rigidity, and it does help. The weight is very low, so you add a lot of the rigidity for not that much weight, and it's not as brittle as something like carbon fiber in different axial loading. But so therefore it makes sense. I'm also seeing Cobra buckles on the shoulders. This is something that I think it's kind of BS. It's always, I think everybody hates Cobra buckles on the shoulders, especially when you're shouldering rifles and whatnot. Having this massive chunk of metal on the shoulder is always a pain. I think shoulder quick disconnects are not that useful. For example, my carry here has the little plastic buckle on on your left shoulder, so it's fine by me because my rifle's on the other one. But having double on the shoulder, kind of a pain more than anything. Another thing I can see, it has a removable placard system with the swift clips, which are adjusted lengthwise by different attaching points. Very good and all. And again, no quick disconnect, but I will see your Tegris cummerbund going underneath the chest area, and then soft armor underneath it. Okay, we're seeing some miscellaneous pouches hang on this wall for display. First of all, the one thing I would say is that you can see those GP pouches in different sizes. That's straight up a replica of the Spiritus pouches. I mean, they're fine. Those have been replicated to infinity by Chinese people, and now the actual like Russian defense. And yeah, they work. I mean, they're good pouches. I've tried a couple myself. I think it's really funny that the design is just like pretty much the same. And then we see a kind of what looks like maybe like a little bit of a bigger flashbang pouch. A bigger pouch is probably for a PKM, a dump pouch, a bigger even, but looks like a machine gunner's pouch of some kind, and then magazine pouches, grenade pouches in this new pattern. So yeah, seems like good stuff overall. This being a pouch is a pouch, it's kind of hard to mess one up. So we saw some of the new stuff they showcase. What is my thought with this? Are we gonna start seeing Russia overall look trippy and all getting new gear? I find it hard to believe. I mean, this is of course still being showcased as a new feature, new product. It's very hard to imagine a possibility where, especially given the recent track record where Russia and all of a sudden decides to go on a full gear upgrade. I don't know how the supply chain has the capability of doing that to all the current soldiers. Will we see in this conflict? I highly doubt it. It's possible we might see a few select pictures here and there as a testing thing. I don't think this is going to become standardized for a long time. In my opinion, it does look like a massive step up in the right direction. Russia, of course, does have the experience. We cannot take that away from them. So a lot of this gear looks like it's been designed on experience. Also, it has a lot of Western influence. So I think when you mix those two things, you kind of are bound to get a recipe for a successful product. A lot of those products in here do look promising. They look like good systems. Of course, a lot of those things really depend on the real life performance when it comes to ballistics, especially when it comes to, like, for example, things like the helmet. And then I didn't go into details about some other minor things they showed, such as sleeping tents and bags and things like that, because those overall, again, it's not much I can say. It's like, yeah, it's a sleeping bag, cool. We do see the new patterns, which I think look pretty dope. No fault there. So yeah, I think, so this is a topic that it is not fresh off the press, right? But I think not many people maybe got exposure to it. And like I said, I didn't mean to do it. I just focused on other projects, never got around to it. Now I have some downtime. I can do a kind of low effort, just like reaction kind of bullshit video like this. But overall, I think you guys can see it and kind of maybe let me know what you think of it. I think, again, looks pretty cool, and maybe they'll pick it up. Production, we'll see. I don't think so, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, like I said, check out the sources, check out the original videos for a more in-depth. These are just my opinions, and thank you for watching. Regular videos coming.